Microphones off? Okay, ready? Good evening, everyone. We're ready to begin tonight's City of Gardena regular City Council meeting for August 28, 2018. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Madam Mayor, all members of the City Council are present with the exception of Council Member Cascanian, who is on an excused absence.
Okay, thank you. So tonight we didn't have closed session, but we did have our study session tonight speaking about the MS4 permits. So we're going to begin next with our Pledge of Allegiance, which tonight will be led by Ms. Kayla Bibb. And immediately following that, if you can continue standing for our invocation, which will be led by the Reverend Nathan J. Sessions. So please stand.
Please remove all hats and place your right hand over across your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
If we could just bow our heads for a moment, please. Eternal God, our Father. Father, we come before you. Father, we come before you because you're God all by yourself. We come before you because you are the provider and the healer. And Father, we're resting in the fact that we have victory through you and you alone. In that, Father, we thank you in advance for bringing each and every one of us here today. Now, Father, we ask you to come in and rest upon us and show your face amongst us. In the mighty name of your Son, Jesus Christ, is my prayer. All the people of God say amen, amen. And amen.
You may be seated. So if I could have tonight's pledger please come back to the front. Tonight's Pledge of Allegiance was led by Ms. Kayla Bibb, who is a part-time recreation leader at Raleigh Park, which is here in the city of Gardena through our recreation division. Ms. Kayla Bibb is a former full-time El Camino College student athlete who played with El Camino College's women's 2017-2018 conference champion basketball team, which in fact is coached by City of Gardena Recreation Coordinator Janina Hartwell. Kayla was awarded as 2018's first team All-State and Academic Athlete South Coast Conference Most Valuable Player, and the most important award of all was a full scholarship to California State University of San Bernardino. Congratulations. Ms. Bibb, would you like to say anything or introduce any of your family members who are here with you tonight?
My mother's here with me, Gretchen Shorter. She's right here.
Everyone give her a round of applause for coming out to support her daughter. And is there anything you'd like to say?
I would like to say a few things about working for the City of Gardena.
Okay.
I'm very grateful and very humble to work at a place that, this is actually my first job. Not only that, I grew up in Gardena. I spent 20 years here, actually. And I grew up at Raleigh Park with James Kimmons, Yvette. It's such an honor to just give back to the city that gave to me. I would also like to thank Nikki Swinney, Yvette. Working here is like a family, and I'm just so grateful to get this opportunity. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And congratulations again on your scholarship to the University of San Bernardino. We know you'll do very well.
Yeah, we want your autograph so when you move on.
Thank you so much. This is an honor. Thank you.
Okay. Next, if we could have the Reverend Nathan Sessions please come back to the front. So tonight's invocation was led by the Reverend Nathan J. Sessions, who is a senior pastor at Enlightened Motorcycle Ministries, which is located at 1025 Marine Avenue. Pastor Nate Sessions was ordained as a minister in 2010, and in 2011 he founded the Enlightened Motorcycle Ministries, where he serves as a senior pastor and national president. Pastor Sessions was born and raised in Los Angeles, where he also received his formal education. After high school, he served in the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve. While in the secular workforce, he received his calling to the ministry. Pastor Nate then pursued additional schooling, earning an Associate of Arts degree in Biblical Studies, both a Bachelor and a Master's of Arts degree in Biblical Counseling, as well as obtaining credentials as a certified life coach. He He and his wife, LaTanya Sessions, are also certified facilitators of the Prepare and Enrich program. Since 2011, Pastor Nate has also worked as a parent partner for the County of Los Angeles program called Wraparound Program, providing family service and developing a plan of care for at-risk youth. Through his process, many teens and youth have graduated from the Wraparound Program and are now proactive, productive youth in the community, and who are now seeking higher education to ensure that they are successful in life. Pastor Sessions, would you like to say anything?
First of all, I would like to thank you guys for the invitation, and I also want to introduce my wife, the butter on my toast. Come on, somebody. The taco sauce on my tacos. My wife, LaTanya Session. Amen. And thank you for the invite. It's a pleasure.
Okay. Thank you again for leading us in the invocation tonight. We appreciate it. Everyone give him a round of applause as well. So tonight, we customarily honor a veteran, but unfortunately, he was not able to make it tonight. So at this time, we're going to skip over the presentation portion and at a later time award him his recognition here from the City of Gardena. So we're going to move on to appointments. And does any member of the council have any appointments to be made to any commissions, committees, boards, or council at this time? If not, we're going to move on to our consent calendar. Does any member of the council wish to discuss any items separately on the consent calendar? If not, can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar as is?
So moved.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Medina. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. So next is Planning and Environmental Quality Commission action sheet. They did not have a meeting on August 21st. The meeting was canceled. We're going to move on to oral communications. We have one speaker tonight. We'd like to remind all of our speakers that you are limited to 3 minutes unless extended by myself. When the yellow light comes on, that lets you know that your 2 minutes are up. When the red light comes on, it means your 3 minutes are up. So we appreciate your cooperation in advance. So our first speaker tonight is Mr. Philip Johnson.
Mohicans. What does the other guy look like?
Where's what?
What does the other guy look like?
Good evening, Mayor Serta, Council. I'm here. You guys, my address is on record, but I'm here to invite you guys to our first annual golf tournament. Since we did not have fireworks as our fundraiser this year, we worked on and had a meeting with our mayor and the city manager on some things that we could do to raise some funds for the kids in our program. And a golf tournament was one of the things that they said we could do. And it may raise some money, but it probably wouldn't raise a whole lot of money. But it probably would raise as much money as we did with fireworks. But that's another joke, another time. But I really would like for you guys at all, if you can, to participate. It's our first annual. We're hoping and praying that it will be a fun event. It's on September the 21st at Chester, Washington Golf Course. We are doing the tee box signs, the whole 9 yards as far as a golf tournament. We're trying to make it a fun event, and it's going to be Mohican laden. It will be a total Gardena Mohican thing. So you'll see all kind of Gardena Mohican attire and things for sale that you probably won't find anyplace else other than at this golf tournament. So please, if you can, I'm leaving packets for all of you guys. Okay. Please, if you can, participate any little bit. If you can't come and golf, put a T sign out, something from the city or something representing our city. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to move on to our departmental items. First up is item number 8A1. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item number 8A1 is to award a contract to HDL for economic development services not to exceed the amount of $50,000. Recommended that the City Council approve the contract with Hinteler leader De Lamas and Associates, but I'll just refer to them as H2L, who they commonly go by, for economic development services, including the creation of an economic development action plan, a void analysis, and insight market analysis. HDL has been in business for over 35 years, and in 2014, they created Econ Solutions to expand services to provide strategic planning and consulting services to assist local governments with economic development planning and execution. Econ Solutions provides services to clients such as Moreno Valley, Oceanside, Newport Beach, Corona, and Indio, and many more. There are additional services that the city may choose to execute as part of this agreement related to branding and business attraction. The City of Gardena is taking necessary steps to further the community and economic development goals and objectives outlined in the city's strategic plan. As many of you have known, either through presentations or through discussion at the council meetings, economic development is high on our priority list. This initiative would assist the city in engaging and enhancing the vibrancy of the Rosecrans corridor, and it is critical in recruiting strong retailers. With the agreement, the city will be provided a 3-year economic development action plan that will focus the city's economic development efforts. The void analysis will provide a list of retailers and restaurants with contact information with direct decision makers, which the city can target to enhance our retail and service base. Insight market analysis will provide up-to-date information so city staff can target retailer voids throughout the city, further driving sales tax revenue to the city and services to residents and businesses. The optional branding and business attraction assists the city in enticing new businesses to Gardena. What this does is it's an augment to our current economic development manager's position. And when we talk about void analysis and the discussion that we've had in our community, specifically along Rosecrans corridor, the community has spoken very clearly about what is missing there. A supermarket, a pharmacy, a bank, because the last one moved. And so taking a look at how we can use the analytics and the experience from HDL to attract those businesses to one of our major corridors, but not just Rosecrans, but all over the city, will be very, very helpful. We are somewhat limited in terms of our ability to produce that type of analytics unless we're going to invest heavily in analytical infrastructure, which, as we all know, can be very costly. So HDL is very proficient in this aspect. What is required is to award the contract to HTL for an amount not to exceed $50,000. That $50,000 does also include the opportunity for us, if we do decide to move forward with the branding and business attraction portions of the agreement.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, in regards to HDL, if somebody were to ask us, did we have a competitive bid process so no one thinks we're just giving our friends contracts, could we supply that information?
Under the city's municipal code, for services like this, competitive bidding is not required, although we did go out to the marketplace and unofficially interview and look at a bunch of different providers. Most recently at the ICA conference, I did touch base with them again. When we were at our infancy stage of considering an economic development manager and enhancing that, we did meet with them early on, and we clearly thought they were the forerunners in this type of services, and we look forward to working with them. They have, I believe, about 57 of the 58 counties in California under contract for something, and many hundreds of cities throughout California under contract for a variety of services. So they are very well known and have an excellent reputation in serving municipal government.
Thank you for that. Also, because I definitely want to maximize our dollars. While they're on board, can we expand maybe the statement of work to have them help us develop some sort of stance on the upcoming cannabis rules and regulations that will be coming down from Sacramento, so we can at least be in charge of our own destiny, so to speak?
So in this particular agreement, this is specifically focused on economic development. HDL does provide a lot of additional services, and one of that is working through cannabis regulation. They also provide a lot of services in terms of revenue forecasting, those kind of things. Those would be separate engagements. But I do want to remind the City Council that we did engage HDL initially when we were looking at the marijuana ordinance, and they actually did provide a presentation to the City Council.
Any other questions or comments? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is going to be an enhancement for what we already have in place, correct?
Yes, I mean, the city has limited abilities to analyze the strategic things that we need to do to entice the right businesses to Gardena. We also have, somewhat limited reach in terms of personal corporate relationships to those businesses that are looking for cities such as Gardena. So this not only enhances our analytical capacity and identifying, the voids, but also helps us with especially the marketing attraction and those contacts through HDL's vast network to allow us to make those connections to really showcase our city and demonstrate to those businesses why this is a great place to be.
So because I've actually read through this whole thing, and I'm very impressed with this organization, and I've seen the branding and all the things that they've been involved in, and I'm really hoping that the Rosecrans Corridor, wherever we need on Crenshaw, all the things that we need to have redone, I'm hoping, from what I've seen them produce, that they will make us another star in the South Bay, because nobody else uses them in the South Bay. So thanks.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Council Member. And the other thing too is having that insight of what businesses we're not reaching that want to be here. We just don't know. It's the saying, like, you don't know what you don't know. They will certainly help us identify and close those gaps on those unknowns.
Any other questions? I have one. So I noticed it's a 3-year action plan, but how long do they anticipate it'll take to put this action plan together?
Well, the 3-year action plan, we will have a lot of movement in the first probably 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
They're very aggressive. We've met with them a couple times. We're going to have stages along the way as we move through this plan. So there's actionable items. I certainly do not envision by any sense that this plan is going to take 3 years to develop, and then we're going to that timing is not right for that. Certainly the economy is very hot, and we want to take advantage. So certainly moving forward with as many things as possible now, but looking towards a 3-year plan and having incremental achievements along the way.
Okay, great. Well, this is definitely on the right track of where we're going with our city here. I definitely see where this company here is going to complement what's happening already with our economic development. So at this time, I'm going to make the motion that we approve the award contract. Can I get a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by myself to approve the award contract, and there was a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Serta,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Medina.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Okay, next up is item number 8A2. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor, Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 882 is resolution number 6340, amending the list of authorized games and authorizing the play of certain games in licensed card clubs. These agenda items come to the City Council frequently based on the state's approval of new games and the local casinos' request to adopt those new games. So the staff recommends the City Council adopt the resolution which amends the current list of authorized games and authorizes the play of a new game. On August 9, 2018, the Hustler Casino received written approval from the State of California, the Department of Justice Bureau of Gaming Control, to begin offering open-faced Chinese poker at their club. The approval of the state is subject to the formal adoption by the City of Gardena. There's no fiscal impact and is required is to adopt the resolution number 6340.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments at this time? Council first here. Councilmember Medina. Sorry.
So this is just one game only, aside from the other 77 games, right?
Yes, council member, this is every time they're at a game, we had to add it to our list of authorized games.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Just real quickly, a comment about it. This is called, for those that don't know Chinese poker, this is actually called 13-card poker, and it's played amongst the Vietnamese people. I've played it with some of my Vietnamese friends, and it's a fun, fast game. So if you're actually interested, it wouldn't hurt just to go play this game because it's really a lot of fun. So thanks.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to adopt resolution number 6340?
So moved.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Medina and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8A3A. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8A3, A and B, is the next step of our evolution to approve the changes we made with the Gardena Police Officers Association and the Gardena Police Unrepresented Managers in regards to their change in their contribution rates for PERS, and that is the employee contribution. I'll read through the amendment. So the amendment is between CalPERS Board of Administration and the City of Gardena, which is resolution number 6339, adopting the resolution of the intention to approve an amendment to the contract between the Board of Administration of the California Employee Retirement System and the City of Gardena. So it's essentially our contract for retirement services with PERS. Ordinance number 1800 authorizes an amendment to the contract between the Board of the California Public Employees Retirement System and the City of Gardena. Resolution number 6339 is a resolution of intention to approve this agreement to allow cost sharing of the employer contribution pursuant to Government Code 20516 for members of the Gardena Police Officers Association, also referred to as GPOA, and the unrepresented Gardena Police Managers. The resolution initiates the process to amend the city's contract with CalPERS to allow the resolution of the GPOA and the police managers to pay an additional 3% of their compensation towards our employee contribution rate. The GPOA and the police managers agreed to a cost-sharing agreement adopted by the City Council on June 10th, 2018. There are several steps to amend the city's contract with CalPERS, and resolution number 6339 approves the resolution of intention to approve the contract amendment. Staff recommends the mayor execute both amendments A and B. Attachment C is the proposed ordinance authorizing an arrangement to the contract between CalPERS and the city. This is the first reading of the ordinance, with a second and final reading scheduled for adoption on September 25th, 2018. The fiscal impact. In fiscal year 2018 and 2019, the police managers will pay a total of $40,162 towards the city's employer contribution pursuant to Section 20516. The GPOA will pay $269,917 towards cost sharing of the employer contribution during the fiscal year. So as we recalled when I first brought this to the City Council, this will put our police officers and police managers at one of the highest end of the employee contribution portions of PERS, showing our city's commitment to being fiscally responsible and cost sharing in retirement costs. What is required is the adoption of resolution number 6339 and introduce ordinance number 1800.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments at this time?
I have a quick comment.
Go ahead.
We're the first ones to do this, or one of the first ones to do this, where we're actually for a huge contribution.
So there is only one other city in the South Bay, to the best of my knowledge, that requires their police officers to pay 12%. That is the city of Manhattan Beach. To the best of my knowledge, there is no city in the South Bay that will have their PEPA people pay the 15.25%, which is the highest in the South Bay.
So one last thing is, Chief Kang and the city manager, please express to our people in the police department, we do appreciate that they are willing to do this for us to keep us solvent.
Right. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so tonight we're going to take two actions. The first one is I need a motion to adopt resolution number 6339.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll? I'm sorry, the first was by Councilmember Henderson and the second was by Mayor Pro Tem. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next, I need someone to introduce the ordinance number 1800.
I'll do
So
that.
moved.
Okay. It was introduced tonight by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. Let's move on to item number 8A4. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, can we have the title of the introduced ordinance read for the record, please?
Okay. It's ordinance number 1800, which is authorizing an amendment to the contract between the Board of Administration of the California Public Employees Retirement System, CalPERS, and the City of Gardena. And tonight's introduction of the ordinance was by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is item number 8A4. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8A4 is ordinance number 1799, amending sections 14.04, 14.030, 14.04.050, and 14.04280 of the Gardena Municipal Code related to the qualifications of rent mediation board members and notice of mediation procedures. This was initially introduced by Councilman Henderson on August 14th. City Council meeting. Staff's recommending the City Council now adopt ordinance number 1799, which amends sections, as mentioned, related to rent mediation board qualifications and notice of mediation and hearing procedures. Members of the City Gardena Rent Mediation Board have requested certain technical and clarifying amendments be made to portions of the rent mediation ordinance to more efficiently and effectively implement the City of Gardena's rent mediation ordinance. Staff wishes to modify the following two subjects. Under sections 14.040.030 and 14.04.050, non-substantive changes modifying the quote, owner, manager, real estate professional representative to, quote, owner representative. So it's just a name of who is the representative. The number two change would be a section to 14.040.280, which eliminates a reference that's no longer used to the issue and the reference to an arbitrator that really should reference a hearing officer. Other than that, there's no other impact. There's no fiscal impact and was required to adopt as ordinance number 1799.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? I have one question. So if any of us have appointed let's just say a real estate professional as our landlord, as our landlord rep, would we have to replace them if they're not an owner?
We'll be conducting an audit to ensure that the new changes are made, but I don't foresee any changes currently. We have already made changes in the past at this point.
Okay, great. Any other questions, comments? If not, can I get a motion to adopt ordinance number 1799?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second?
And Madam Mayor, we need reading of the ordinance
Oh,
by
okay.
title.
Ordinance number 1799, which is amending section number 14.04.030 and 14.040.050 and 14.04.280 of the Gardena Municipal Code relating to qualifications of rent mediation board members and the notice of mediation procedures. It was initially introduced by Councilmember Henderson, and tonight there was a motion made by Councilmember Henderson and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. Will you, Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8A5.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8A5 is an authorized blanket purchase order for Clifton Larson Allen LLP for auditing services not to exceed $75,000. Staff recommends that the City Council authorize a blanket purchase order not to exceed $75,000 for audit services and professional recommendations in internal controls and systems processes. A blanket purchase order, or BPO, is a simplified method of filing anticipated repetitive needs for services and supplies by establishing charge accounts which qualify sources of supply. BPOs are designed to reduce administrative costs associated with payment of multiple invoices by eliminating the need for issuing multiple purchase documents. Staff recommends that the blanket purchase order be approved for the payments during fiscal year 2018-9. The fiscal impact for the general fund is to not exceed $75,000. The initial question is, I know that we do have a current auditor. These are more specific audits related to internal controls that are fall below the threshold of what our normal auditing procedures take into place to enhance internal accountability and to provide greater efficiencies.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, in regards to the charge accounts for expending off the blanket PO, is there an approval process within the department so folks know that, oh, let's charge for this, let's charge for that? Folks know that there's an approval process for that?
Yes, all invoices go through a queue that requires multiple levels of approval, ultimately resulting based on the threshold at my level. Lower to my level would be the Administrative Services Director or the Finance Manager. In this case, a blanket PO is authorized, so we don't have to issue new POs for every single time we utilize their services.
One other question. So have we really tightened down our statement of work to make sure that we get everything we want for our 75, up to 75K?
Yes, that's an ongoing process, although we're meeting this Thursday to identify some lower hanging fruit. As they dig deeper into our internal controls, there may be subsequent recommendations that we cannot predict that based on their experience and other findings in other cities that will be recommending to us. We will certainly be as efficient as possible to ensure we try to keep it under $75,000 or come back to the City Council for additional appropriation.
No change orders.
Any other questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to authorize the blanket purchase order?
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Medina. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8C1. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8C1 is notification of eligibility for funding in the amount of $22,802 under the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant, or from this point forward referred to as the JAG program, for fiscal year 2018 local solicitation. Staff recommends the City Council receive and file this notification of eligibility for funding in accordance with the requirement that the application be made available for review by the governing body of the state or unit or of local government not less than 30 days before the application is submitted to the Bureau of Justice Assistance. Public notification will appear in local newspapers announcing such and will allow for public comment as required under the JAG program. On July 20th, 2018, the Police Department received notification from the United States Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Assistance that says the City of Gardena is eligible to receive funding in the amount of $22,802 under this grant. The JAG program assists state, local, and tribal efforts to prevent or reduce crime and violence. JAG funds may be used to enhance law enforcement programs in the areas of technical assistance, training, equipment, personnel, supplies, and also contractual support. It is the intent of the Police Department to utilize the JAG program to purchase a number of items, 11 handguns, flashlights, 2 rifles, lights, and then entry tools that can be used by the sergeants in our canine vehicles to help open doors and gates and also to help with barricaded or searching for suspects who are wanted. The acquisition of the equipment will bring the department's inventory to full operational status. The police department has arranged for all the planned expenditures to be covered by the grant, so there is no general fund impact, which I like. The fiscal impact will be $22,000 funded by the JAG grant. What is required at this point is to receive and file. At the point that we do make these purchases or are approved by the grant, we will bring that back to the City Council for final approval.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? If not, there's no action needed. We're going to be receiving and filing this item. Next up is item number 8C2. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor, certain members of the City Council, authorization, agenda item 8C2 is authorization to expand and not to exceed $77,000 in fiscal year 2018-19 for service and maintenance related to our city's video policing system. Staff recommends that the council authorize the expenditure of $77,000 for this fiscal year for expenditures related to service and maintenance of the city video policing system through Convergent Technologies. The city contracted with Convergent Technologies in 2015 for a 3-year period for preventative maintenance and service based on time and materials for all cameras within the video policing system. As of July 1st, 2018, the city's executed a 1-year extension on the agreement for preventative maintenance. Preventative maintenance includes quarterly site visits to perform visual inspection and cleaning of all camera lenses, housing to the city's 164 cameras. Convergent will provide technical specialists for an on-site visit each quarter to work with a security system head and at the city, which is basically our video management and viewing system. They will perform a complete health check of the system, making necessary adjustments to the video management system, storage, encoders, switchers, and other things to make the system run as designed. Work performed outside the normal quarterly preventive maintenance is billed based on Convergent's customer service program, which includes preferred flat hourly rates for all services and work performed outside the scope of this preventative maintenance program. These type of service calls includes like a network drive disconnecting, power supply issues, equipment that becomes end of life, connectivity issues, those kind of things. All calls for service performed throughout the current fiscal year shall not exceed $77,000. The funding source for this is general fund and equipment revolving out of the police department's budget. What is required is to authorize the expenditure for this video policing maintenance agreement.
Okay, are there any questions or comments at this time? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, in regards to the depreciation of the 164 cameras, since we got them all at the same time, will Convergent, I mean, we're budgeting for the depreciation of the cameras, so will this maintenance cover the replacement of those cameras when the technology changes, or do we got to go back out and do a whole new bid for security cameras?
That is an excellent question. The city has very rarely depreciated its assets as we should. These assets are not being depreciated. These assets this is for maintenance only. Once these systems reach end of life, we have some strategic decisions to make whether or not we're going to continue with those systems, scale them back, replace them with other technology, et cetera. This is mainly just to keep the current system functioning. In a perfect world, it would be great to depreciate a lot of our large assets so that we have the replacement funding in place, but that just has not been the city's position in the past, although we are diligently working towards replacement cycles that are depreciated, and we hope to get there as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I just want to offer definitely a red flag of caution. An organization that I'm part of, we did not do the same thing, and so because we didn't do that, now we got this capital expenditure that I'm not sure where it's coming from, but it's a big thing, especially with security systems, and we got like 300-something cameras in our org, so it's a problem. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is a long-term plan, not only just for this system, but even our vehicles and such. I've tasked the Administrative Services Department to start putting together a program that we start depreciating some of our large assets to deal with exactly as you mentioned.
Okay, first we're going to go with Councilmember Medina, then Mayor Pro Tem.
Just a suggestion. I've noticed that in certain situations, especially on the retail end, you can buy a item, whether it's a camera or not camera, and get some kind of a warranty or guarantee. Especially if you buy in large quantities, work a situation out where you can get that type of warranty or guarantee, and this way we don't have to, aside from the fact that we're going to have to downscale, what it's going to be worth, just kind of CYA, cover yourself, and see if you can purchase some of these things with some warranties or guarantees. Guarantees with electrical stuff is really hard, but warranties are a good package, even if you pay that extra penny to get that warranty for an extra year or two. Just a suggestion.
That's a good point. We did get warranties in all these cameras when we first purchased them, but these cameras have been around a lot, so even the initial warranty and some of the extended warranties are far beyond that life scale. When we do have to replace a camera, one drops off, we replace it, we do get a warranty, but as you all know, it's been around a long time, but we definitely will look at. Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
So just a quick question, that these 164 cameras are in-vehicle cameras and the cameras that officers use, or is this the one that the foundation helped us to put up in the city?
Yeah, so the video policing system was funded by a lot of different things, grants, earmarks, general fund, the police foundation. These are those cameras only. These are the cameras that are in our jail and all our city parks and our intersections. They're not the video policing cameras that the officers wear or the ones in the car.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? I have a question. I'm curious, how successful is our video policing program? And the reason why I ask this is because over the years, I often hear times where no one's ever staffing the cameras there. So, I mean, has it been as beneficial as we've hoped it would have been, or not?
I think it's kind of been a mixed bag. I think for the deterrent, it has been great. I also believe that as we scale back, there are certain areas that we are not going to scale back. In discussions with Chief Kang, our parks, our city facilities, are areas where we're not going to scale back. Obviously we can't scale back in our jail; it's a requirement. But there are other areas that Chief Kang has mentioned that he wants to use different types of technology for. So, for example, as the intersection cameras become end of life, he would like to use different technologies, such as license plate reader technology or other things that are now more evolving rather than replacing them with camera systems. So, the goal is to keep our deterrence and monitoring capabilities at our parks and facilities, in our jail, and to look at the intersection cameras with different technology options.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to authorize the expenditure?
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Medina. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8D1. Mr. City Manager?
Mayor, is it item 8E1? D? I missed
8D1.
one. You're keeping me on track. Thank you. Mayor, Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8D1 is an acceptance of project and notice of completion for the purchase and installation of exercise equipment at Raleigh Park, which was job number 870, which was done by Dave Bang Associates, Inc. and Play Foundations, Inc. Staff recommends that the City Council accept the completed work for the purchase and installation of the exercise equipment at Raleigh Park and order the notice of completion. On March 27, 2018, the City Council approved the purchase of the exercise equipment for Raleigh Park in the amount of $72,841.27 and awarded the purchase for Dave Bang Associates, Inc. On April 10, 2018, Council approved the installation portion of the exercise equipment in the amount of $67,211 and awarded the installation portion of that project to Play Foundations, Inc. The total cost of the project was $146,752.84, which exceeded the original cost by $6,700. The additional cost was due to adding 4 additional inches of concrete on the equipment to stabilize the ground before the rubberized surface was installed. As you all know, that clay soil in Raleigh Park is subject to a lot of concrete cracking. The project has been completed to the satisfaction of the Parks and Recreation and Human Services Director. This was all funded by a grant, the LA County Proposition A Excess Fund grant, and what is required is to accept the notice of completion and record that notice of completion.
Okay, are there any questions or comments at this time? If not, can I get a motion to accept the project and order the recordation of notice of completion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Medina and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8E1. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Serta. Agenda number 8E1 is an agreement between the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority and the City of Gardena for the Transit Access Pass Program, or TAP program. The Transit Access Pass program is a regional smart card program serving as an electronic fare collection system. TAP operators have worked together to unify fare media into TAP, simplifying the marketing, messaging, and establishing of regional rules. Metro is responsible for managing the daily operations of TAP, including system configuration, testing, customer service, financial settlement, and operational oversight. All Los Angeles County transit operators, including G-Trans, participates in TAP and are required to enter into a cooperative TAP participation agreement with Metro governing the respective roles and responsibilities in connection with its participation in TAP. G-Trans is required to enter into a data use and non-disclosure agreement for TAP systems, which grant each participating agency and its authorized personnel access to the TAP system and certain confidential information. The access will allow G-Trans to respond to and or remedy TAP patron inquiries and issues with the respective TAP card or accounts. Staff recommends that the City Council authorizes the execution of attached agreements with Metro. G-Trans was one of the original 9 municipal transportation operators in the region to participate in the TAP program. In the future, it is predicted that our fare boxes will also be replaced to enhance the TAP system. What is required is for the City Council to approve the agreements. There is no fiscal impact to the city.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments tonight? If not, can I get a motion to approve the agreement?
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Henderson and a second by Councilmember Medina. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next, we're going to move on to council directives. Does any member of the council have any directives at this time? No? Okay. We're going to move on to the city manager remarks and directives.
Thank you, Mayor Serta. Members of the City Council, I've provided a couple pieces of information, but the community should also be aware that we did receive a Moody's Investment Service report on the City of Gardena. There were no surprises there. The city continues to be in strong financial position, and the only what you would perceive to be as negative comment on that report is the same that many cities throughout California, or probably say throughout the nation, is the issue of unfunded liability relative to retirement. And for us, it's PERS. But other than that, the city continues to be in a strong financial position. I also provided a memorandum of the reorganization of city departments. As you are all well known, we've had and operated under a super department system for almost a decade now. That worked well for a period of time. It did take care of some leadership issues and certainly cost savings. But our city is continuing to grow. The pace is extremely fast, and it is the best interest of our organization to undo the super departments, which we have already done as first step with the General Services Department taking over Community Development and Public Works from when I was the police chief. And now the second step is finally to create a Community Development Department again. In that, items that were under the responsibility of parks, recreation facilities, and maintenance have been transferred to general services, which is specifically building maintenance, custodial, and all of the grounds and medians, et cetera. So that report is in there with an organizational chart. I'm very happy that we have had the first recognition of a program called the Spot On Recognition Award. This is a program that we started to identify great performance by members of our team that have done exceptional work, and I was very happy to be the first person to recognize a number of employees in community development. Those employees were Carol Nishi, Joseph Fletcher, Leslie Ball, Dorina Grablev, who's actually a TSC employee, Hilda Olvera, Rita Lopez, and Stephanie Santine. The individuals displayed exemplary work product by working together to recover over $100,000 in delinquent business license fees, penalties, and administrative citation fees. They reduced the number of accounts that were either delinquent from 992 in May of 2018 to the last report of less than 148. So their diligence brought in $100,000. They worked exceptionally well as a team, and each of them received $100 to recognize their diligent work product and a nice certificate from the city manager. So I think they all deserve a round of applause for their great work. In your package, there's also a memorandum from our attorney regarding the MS4 litigation and inspection status. The short of that is the litigation we'll hopefully know by sometime in November. It's kicked out another 90 days, so let's cross our fingers and hope we're successful there. There's information there about the 2018 Gardena Job Fair that will be hosted here in Gardena. And then lastly, we did have our Jazz Festival this Sunday, and I'll be providing the City Council with an after-action report, hopefully by the next meeting, about the festival. So with that ends my report, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So next up are council remarks. We're going to begin tonight with Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mine was pretty light, so I'll be done very quickly. Since our last meeting, I was fortunate enough to attend the Gardena Valley Baptist Church Seminary Golf Tournament at Rio Hondo, which was a great success. I went to RCC for a quick meeting, and I attended on Thursday. The League of California Cities brought in a new president and honored the outgoing president from the city of Artesia. And that ends my report.
Okay, next up is Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last meeting, I've only done a couple things. Of course, the Jazz Festival, as it was mentioned by Mr. City Manager. I also participated in the grand reopening of the Gardena One Stop here in our community, which is a jewel of our community. It was great to actually be with the leadership there and everything. I want to encourage the community to use that jewel in our community. When I was between opportunities, I used that facility to help me launch a few entrepreneurial endeavors and everything that ended up being successful. So I can attest that it does work and they have all the resources there. I also attended a meeting at Assemblymember Marisucci's office in regards to the California Air Resources Board, AB 398, to discuss the possibility of City of Gardena hosting an event so we can talk about what that potential ruling by the California Air Resources Board would mean to our taxes and everything like that. So that's something haven't decided yet if we're going to do that yet. I'll speak to city staff on that. I want to get a little bit more understanding of what's going to be required of us, but I think it's a worthwhile topic for us to actually start getting in front of. California's already a high place to live, and so more taxes upon taxes, it could be a challenge. So we should probably have that discussion here in our city since it impacts us in regards to our socioeconomic status. Madam Mayor, so ends my report.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Medina, would you mind if I would do my remarks before you? Is that okay? Okay, thank you. Since the last council meeting, I attended 4 events, the first one being the National Congress of Black Women, as they had their 9th annual awards luncheon. And this year's theme was 2018 Year of the Woman, Women Making a Difference. And I was very honored to receive an award for being the first female and the first African-American mayor here in the city of Gardena. So it was truly an honor for me. Also, I attended on that same day 132nd Street's annual block party, And for those of you who've never been to this block party before, they have probably one of the longest running block parties. It's been like 17, 18 years, and you will see several hundred people at this party. This block party every year. So it was great to be able to attend that. Just about everybody on the street had like food and jumpers and a DJ in front of their house. So it was, it was really good. Also, on last Thursday, I attended the re-grand opening of Gardenia's One Stop and took a tour of the facility. They've recently upgraded and enlarged the facility there. They have training rooms. They teach ESL there. And I believe they said they have a, Councilmember Henderson, correct me if I'm mistaken, a charter school that's going to be there as well. So it was really pretty neat to see as they reach out and help adults and youth as they're looking for employment, and also they help with training. And this is all done at no cost. So that's our Gardena One Stop, located right at 166 in Western. And then on last Friday, I attended the grand opening of Japan House LA, and we had heard, some of us who went to Japan last year in November, there was some talk about the new Japan House opening, and it finally opened on last Friday, and it was really great because it's in the city of Hollywood, and it's like a museum about Japan, and it encourages people to go to Japan, and they have all sorts of things like showcases of the best art in Japan, culture, fashion, design, all types of innovation and media. We had the opportunity to meet with the Japanese consulate, Mr. Akira Chiba. They had entertainment there. There was one gentleman I'd never heard of before. His name was Yoshi. And this guy in Japan was bigger than the Beatles. So it was really kind of neat getting a chance to see him perform. We had samples of food by Wolfgang Puck. It was really nice and elaborate. So I was very honored to be able to attend that this year. So with that, it ends my report. And Mayor Pro Tem Medina, you're next.
Thank you for the promotion, but the mayor pro tem is to your right.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Councilor Medina.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last council meeting, I had the privilege of DJing for New Challenge Ministries. We gave out $1,500 worth of school supplies and helped out 300 kids that were, some of them were homeless and some of them were in desperate need of school supplies. So I was very proud of the fact that I got to participate in that and gave out a bunch of school supplies. Also, we had our last summer concert at right in front of our city hall with the Esquires band, and it was well attended. I got the privilege to play congas for a big band, which is unheard of, but I had a good time, and so the band had a good time as well. And I also had a chance to work with Rotary at the Seaside Lagoon. There was about 600 people there, and they were doing their annual boat races. What they do is they get cardboard boxes, and somehow they tape them up so they'll manage to float across the Seaside Lagoon and back. About 80% of them did not make it. Some of them wound up underwater, but that's part of the fun. Also wanted to let people know that the old timers of Gardena are having their annual dance that they've been having for the past 37 years, since the marriage of Juan and Rosie Navarro. So it'll be at the Elks this coming Saturday. For those of you who'd like to listen to some good old time music, come on by. Also, I failed to mention to our city manager if our city council needs to agendize our position on the water tax, the California water tax, which is a parcel tax as well. So I don't know if that has to be, I'm sure it has to be agendized, so I just wanted to bring that up. I should have mentioned it when we had the directives, and I apologize for that.
Councilmember Medina, I would just need a directive to do that, and we'll do that.
Okay, well, if I'd like to make a directive now if possible, and if we can get a second, I'd appreciate that, because it's going to cost 2.5 cents per square foot for those of you who are property owners. And the sad part about that is it's not going to have a sunset. It's never going to end until we vote it back in again. So if I can get a second, I'd appreciate it. If not, well, we'll move on.
I'll second it.
Thank you. I'm sorry. So ends my report.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we're going to move on to our remembrances. Tonight, we're going to adjourn our meeting in memory of Mrs. Mary Atsuko Nishikawa, who was 88 years old and a longtime resident of Gardena. She is survived by her husband, James, 2 daughters, 4 grandchildren, and sister in Japan, and many nieces, nephews, and relatives. We're also going to adjourn in memory of Mrs. Michiko Hayase. She and her husband have been longtime residents of Gardena and have raised their family in our city. She was a faithful member of the Gardena Valley Baptist Church and will be missed by so many of those who knew her and loved her. We're also going to be adjourning in memory of Mr. Eugene D. Doss, who was 82 years old, who was a 20-year resident of Gardena and active in our community. So at this time, we're going to adjourn our meeting. The Gardena City Council will adjourn to our next regularly scheduled City Council meeting, which will be at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, September 11, 2018. We are adjourned.